In at number 10, Tish and Billy Ray Cyrus. Tish and Billy Ray are getting divorced for the third time, just 5 years after they called off their second divorce. Tish is the person who filed for divorce on April 6th after 29 years of marriage. The couple share 5 kids together, including the legendary Miley Cyrus. In 2010, Billy Ray was first to file for divorce, but called it off after a few months. Tish then filed for her first time in 2013, but the couple reconciled just 10 days after that. So there is a chance this third time might also be called off, or there's a chance the couple has unanimously decided that they should no longer be together. In documents obtained by People, Tish cited irreconcilable differences in the legal documents and revealed that her and Billy Ray have not lived together for more than 2 years. The couple released a joint statement saying in part, quote, "It is after 30 years, 5 amazing children, and a lifetime of memories, we have decided to go our separate ways. Not with sadness, but with love in our hearts. We've grown up together, raised a family we can be so proud of, and it's now time to create our own paths." In at number 9, Tom Schwartz and Katie Maloney. As a huge fan of Vanderpump Rules, this news is incredibly heartbreaking, but not all that shocking after last season. After 12 years of being together, the couple have announced that they will be divorcing. After reading the statements, it's clear that this was Katie's decision, and Tom is having a hard time coping with his new normal. In her Instagram statement, Katie wrote, quote, "After 12 years on an adventure through life together, Tom and I are ending our marriage. This ending is not met with resentment or animosity, no sides to choose. We have deep admiration for one another that will always remain, and we cherish our friendship." Tom wrote in his caption that he, quote, "fully respects Katie's decision and that it would be far sadder if she decided to stay with me while not happy." After revealing more about the reasoning, Katie has admitted that she didn't feel supported by Tom and felt that he never truly had her back. And after watching last season, it's clear to me that Schwartz has some growing up to do and needs to prioritize his wife over friends like Tom Sandoval. If you've watched Vanderpump Rules and you saw last season where they're fighting about the bar, please let me know your thoughts below. It is one of my favorite reality shows, mostly because I've just grown up watching it, and I'm so invested in their relationships, and it's so sad to see that these two are splitting up. In at number 8, Shailene Woodley and Aaron Rodgers. Shailene Woodley and Aaron Rodgers had an incredibly fast-paced relationship. Before the public even knew they were a couple, Shailene and Aaron were engaged. It seemed to everyone that the pair were soulmates and were going to be together forever, until it was announced that Shailene broke off their engagement. The former couple first met in 2020 and soon sparked romance rumors. Rodgers confirmed the relationship during his acceptance speech for the NFL Honors Award, thanking his fiancée. Woodley confirmed the relationship as well on an episode of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, showing off her engagement ring. The pair briefly got back together after ending their engagement to try and work things out, but sources say that Shailene is now 100% done. A source said, quote, "Shailene tried to give it another shot and was spending time with Aaron, but she quickly saw that everything was on his terms and nothing was going to change. There was no reason to continue and she's done with it."
At number 7, Adrian Pilecki and Scott Grimes. The Orville's actor Adrian Pilecki has filed for divorce from Scott Grimes for the second time. After filing for divorce a little over a year ago, Adrian has filed for divorce once again, citing irreconcilable differences. There it is again. The pair took to Instagram to announce their split, saying, "Thankful for our time together as a couple, even more thankful for our deep, everlasting friendship." This divorce filing comes a year after Adrian tried filing just 2 months after getting married. This past May, in an anniversary post, Adrian cited how this year has brought them some ups and downs, but they were hopeful for their future together. I guess 2020 really nailed them there. Coming into number 6, Kelly Clarkson and Brandon Blackstock. Kelly and husband Brandon Blackstock have decided to split after nearly 7 years of marriage. The duo worked together on Kelly's talk show, The Kelly Clarkson Show, and they even have 2 kids together. Things on the outside seemed well, and they worked together, so that seemed to show that their marriage was strong. But now sources have revealed that they had a number of problems. On their divorce papers, they list the reason for divorce as "to be determined" or as "irreconcilable differences," but we are being led to believe that it was the effects of quarantine that really pushed them over the edge. The two are seeking joint custody of their kids, but other than that, they don't really seem to agree on much else when it comes to their divorce proceedings. Clarkson has opted to refuse any spousal support, while her husband just checked "other" and doesn't have much to say about the monetary side of their divorce. Judging by how they've been reported to rarely agree on things, this divorce could become quite messy quite quickly. As those who are close with the couple say that on the outside they seem to have a perfect marriage, but that they definitely did not. It's a wonder as to how they even managed to work together on the show if things were that bad. Either way, I wish them luck as they continue through this. Halfway through at number 5, Armie Hammer and Elizabeth Chambers. Elizabeth Chambers has reportedly filed for divorce from husband Armie Hammer after 10 years of marriage. Following their divorce filings, the pair have released statements saying that they've decided to turn the page and move on from their marriage. The couple have cited that they remain committed to co-parenting their children and are asking for privacy, compassion, and love during this time. The family have been quarantining together, though sources say that was not the initial plan. Their split seems to be on good terms, and I wish them nothing but the best. Coming in at number 4, Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green. After 10 years together, Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green have called it quits. Green spoke out about their split, saying that they started to split up in late 2019 after growing apart, and they really didn't want to make anything public too early. Green also cited that after Megan returned home from filming abroad, they gave it a few weeks before having a serious conversation about their marriage, ultimately deciding to end things. Things seem to have ended on good terms as they both came to the mutual realization that things just weren't working out, which is okay. Not all separations have to end badly, and this is exactly the outcome that both Megan and Brian were looking for. Recently, Megan has been seen out and about with rapper Machine Gun Kelly. Green spoke out about Megan's new relationship on his podcast, saying that he doesn't want Megan's new partner to be vilified by the media. He's done nothing wrong, and there's no reason that he should be receiving any grief for it. Now, although fans were shocked to hear about the divorce, it's not all bad. They seem to still be on good terms and co-parenting their kids, so really, all is well. It's nice to see a celebrity divorce that doesn't turn into a full-blown meltdown.
And at number 3, Ashley and Michael Darby. The Real Housewives of Potomac star Ashley Darby has announced her divorce from her husband, Michael. Darby announced the news on Instagram, where she wrote in part that, quote, "Almost 8 years ago when Michael and I said I do, we anticipated sharing every single day together from that moment forward. Unfortunately, that's not our current reality. We have decided to separate." She explained that there was no reason for the decision, but it was a mix of many things, and that people will speculate the decision was made for various reasons, adding, quote, "People will be quick to assume that the causes were too much intrusion by reality TV into the most personal parts of our lives, age gap issues, cultural problems, or child rearing differences. Pieces of all these may have affected our pure love for each other, but no one reason is the root cause of our mutual decision." A source close to the couple said they had been having serious issues for the last year, and there's been a huge disconnect between them as a couple.
At number 2, we have formerly married twosome Kris Pratt and Anna Faris. These two public icons are very heavily part of Hollywood's former it couples because everybody loved them. However, even with this, it seems that there were a few fans who weren't all that surprised by their eventual separation. In 2018, their divorce was announced from the original marriage in 2009, and Anna has been vocal about feeling as if she was forced to split with Kris after 8 years of marriage, but she has since refallen in love with cinematographer Michael Barrett. Kris is currently married to Hollywood royalty Catherine Schwarzenegger. Still, Anna and Kris first met during a 2007 table read where they're sharing starring roles in the film Take Me Home Tonight. In the end though, Anna became angry over fans' reactions to her split with Kris, and the picture-perfect family image she tried her hardest to create that crumbled right before her eyes. At number 1, we have the world's least shocking couple to divorce to date, Miss Kim Kardashian and her rapping ex-husband Kanye West. With the spiral both their relationship and Kanye himself was headed into, it wasn't a shock to Kim Ye fans when the former celebrity couple decided to part ways. It seems non-shocking ends to marriages run deep in the Kardashian family too, as of course we need to honorably mention Khloe's failed marriage with her previous partner Lamar Odom. Still, Kim and Kanye have been dubbed as today's incoming split just bound to happen, according to fans and viewers of the Keeping Up with the Kardashian reality show. Apparently their fate was set in stone as far back as them tying the knot in 2014, according to many. Reportedly, the once powerhouse duo constantly butted heads in their later years due to their rising careers and demanding schedules. Words of Kim once stated, "He should have a wife that supports his every move and travels with him and does everything, and I can't." This was back during the series finale of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she cried during her confession. Ironically enough, Kim was also the one who filed for divorce back in February 2021. She later explained to Vogue that her reasoning for them separating was actually because she made the decision to put herself first. Quote, "Even if that created changes and caused my divorce, I think it's important to be honest with yourself about what really makes you happy." And while Kim Ye once held the title of star-crossed lovers in the beginning, Kanye is still intent on making their marriage work once more, even with Kim wanting to move on. Since then, Kanye had posted a number of direct Instagram uploads for Kim, with one stating, "God please bring our family back together," from a since deleted post. However, Kim seemed content with continuing forward, as she was soon romantically linked to and later confirmed to be dating her now ex-boyfriend Pete Davidson. I'm sure you know how these events have played out at this point, and if not, well, you're in for quite the wild ride.
Starting us off at number 10, Stacey Dash and Jeffree Marty. Clueless star Stacey Dash and her husband Jeffree Marty have decided to call it quits after 2 years of marriage. Stacey and Jeffree got married back in April 2018, just 10 days after meeting each other, and have shared their ups and downs over the last 2 years. Man, 10 days and you're married? You know you're head over heels for this person when you marry them just after over a week. Stacey took to her Instagram to share the news of her split with her fans back in April of this year. Following the announcement of their divorce, fans were quick to point out that this comes just shortly after Dash was arrested for alleged domestic violence, to which she pleaded not guilty. There's been no word from Jeffree on the divorce proceedings, but Stacey has wished him well, citing that she feels that this is for the best. Coming in at number 9, Tracy Morgan and Megan Wallover. Tracy Morgan and wife Megan Wallover are splitting up 5 years after getting married. Morgan issued a statement in July saying that this is a challenging time for the couple and asking for their privacy at the moment. Their love story sounds like something out of a movie. Tracy saying that he knew from the moment he saw her that they would get married, and even his struggle with rehabilitating after his major crash in 2015 to be able to walk his wife down the aisle. Their split came as a surprise to many, and a cause has not been issued. The couple have a child together who's 7 and are looking forward to co-parenting. At number 8, Nicole Young and Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre and longtime partner Nicole Young are getting a divorce after nearly 25 years of marriage. The California rap icon and his wife filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. It's hard to think of what kind of irreconcilable differences would end a 24-year marriage. I'm thinking it's quarantine taking its toll on them like it has for so many other couples, but it must have been a huge issue to call it quits like that. They seem to have such a strong relationship. Their divorce has caused quite the stir lately in regards to their prenup. Nicole claims that Dre ripped up their prenuptial agreement after feeling badly about pressuring her into signing it. So technically there's no prenup since it was destroyed. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't make assumptions as to how things work in that kind of situation, but Nicole is using that as her argument to claim half of Dre's $800 million empire. The couple also have 2 kids, but they're adults, so there's no need for child support payments to be made. Basically, this is gonna be a pretty messy breakup since there's so much money at stake. In the meantime, we just have to watch it all unfold.
And at number 7, Garrett Hedlund and Emma Roberts. After an incredibly messy on and off again relationship with Evan Peters, Emma Roberts quickly moved on to Garrett Hedlund. Then, out of nowhere, the couple announced they were expecting a child together. The pair seemed very happy and excited for their child, but shortly after the birth of Rhodes in 2020, the couple has split. An insider said of their split, quote, "It's sad and they are trying their best to co-parent. It's been hard." The couple started dating in 2019, welcoming Rhodes in December of 2020. At the time of the birth, Emma posted to Instagram writing, quote, "Thank you 2020 for getting one thing right. Our bright light Rhodes Robert Hedlund."
At number 6, we have former lovebirds from the 2nd season of the reality series Love is Blind. Featured stars Danielle Rule and Nick Thompson are reportedly calling their marriage quit after a single year of being together. According to news sources that were scoped from multiple online documents, Danielle filed for divorce in Illinois on August 15th at the Cook County Circuit Court. The once seemingly happy duo met and fell in love on Netflix's dating show and went on to tie the knot in June 2021. Their season finale wedding was featured in the show, which was released in February of this year. However, they haven't publicly confirmed their split when news sources originally made the discovery and began publishing their stories. More so, Danielle is still listed as a Thompson in her Instagram bio and handle. On June 8th, the couple posted sweet tributes on Instagram to mark the celebration of their 1-year wedding anniversary, so things seemed okay at that time. In fact, Nick's post featured an image of him and Danielle at their wedding, with an explanation that although marriages broadcasted on TV are tough, he and Danielle are, quote, putting in the work to get to know each other and learn how to be partners for one another. The former spouses were the only pair of the 2 couples on season 2 of Love is Blind to end up tying the knot, as the opposite duo Ayana and Jarrett announced their plans to divorce just a few days after Danielle filed for her own separation paperwork, ironically enough. Many LIB fans were initially disappointed to know that these couples broke up, as season 1 couples Lauren and Cameron and Amber and Matthew are still together to this day.
Halfway at number 5, Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon. The pair started their love story in 2005 at the Teen Choice Awards where they met. 3 years later, he starred in her music video, Bye Bye, and they got together quickly after. They married in 2008 and welcomed twins together in 2011, named Monroe and Moroccan. Fans were shocked in 2014 when they announced that they were divorcing. TMZ reported that Cannon filed for divorce, leaving fans everywhere wondering what went wrong. It was revealed after that they were living separate lives for months before the news came out. Cannon later revealed in an interview with Wendy Williams, quote, "I feel like when 2 people are in a relationship, it should be about growth. So when you are at a point where there's no longer any growth and you're not bettering each other, I felt like it was probably best, especially for our children. There were reports that the divorce was pretty messy, but thankfully they have been cordial ever since and are co-parenting beautifully.
At number 4, we have previous Keeping Up with the Kardashian love stars Kris Jenner and Caitlyn Jenner, who formerly went by Bruce Jenner back when they were married. One thing I can tell you for sure is that at the beginning, their relationship seemed picture perfect. They had the typical solid match made in heaven type of romance, apparently, but this soon changed as Kris began growing more and more successful with their family becoming just as famous. This is where Kris and the previously Bruce's relationship would experience major change. By the time the reality show hit its 4th season, it appeared Kris and Caitlyn couldn't really stand to be around each other. However, in probably the most surprising feat on today's list, both reality stars managed to make it all the way to season 8 before they finally put a wrap on their marriage. Still, this one was deemed by fans worldwide to be a marriage destined for failure for a long time coming. At number 3, we have comedian John Mulaney and his ex-wife and artist Anne-Marie Tendler. The couple shared a 6-year-long relationship and a dog prior to the end of their romantic ties. John would very frequently make jokes regarding their relationship during his comedy stand-up routines, including one in 2018 where he referred to Anne as a dynamite female dog during his Kid Gorgeous special. We'll never know if the jokes on top of the other BS became too much for Anne in the end, but the pair officially headed for Splitsville in July. Their divorce announcement followed a few short months after John was admitted into rehab for substance abuse back in December 2020. After this, he would go on to date actress Olivia Munn, where he continued to stir up relationship news drama. The most shocking thing for fans of Olivia and John was the announcement of their then soon-to-be welcome child, born in November 2021. John has headlined just about every pop culture news outlet you can think of nowadays for the way he broke things off with Anne.
And at number 2, Jessica Simpson and Nick Laigh. Jessica and Nick were the it couple of the early 2000s. They got married in 2002 after 3 years of dating and showcased their short-lived marriage on a reality TV show before it quickly ended in 2006. The show was called Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica. Laigh even admitted on the show that they didn't know much about each other when they got married and they would clash over things in the show constantly. And by the 3rd and final season, it was pretty much clear that they were going to be breaking up. Nick said about the show after, quote, "It was among the dumber ideas I think I've ever seen executed. It got to a place where it was so invasive, so it became a problem." And at number 1, Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Phillippe. These two got together and had children when they were really young. They met at Reese's 21st birthday party and they got engaged shortly after. The pair got married in 1999 and Reese got pregnant before their wedding as well. In 2002, the couple started having problems and went to couples therapy to try and fix it. But when that didn't work, they divorced in 2006. The couple admitted their age was a huge factor in the split. In 2017, Reese spoke on the split, saying, quote, "I got married when I was 23 and I had 2 kids by the time I was 27. So I don't know, sometimes it's good to know yourself." She says that she would not change things, but she now tells her daughter that 25 is when you really start to know yourself.
At number 10, we have former acting couple Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. The questionable age gap at the time of their relationship was already convincing enough for many to believe that their marriage would not make it to the end of time. The two met back when Demi was 25 and Ashton was 41, but the older star had 3 children closer in age to him than Demi was. With this fact in mind, there were also rumors of infidelity on his part and opening up their relationship to others that certainly did not help keep their marriage afloat. It's been reported by various sources that the most surprising outcome of the marriage ending is just how long it took for them to call it quits. Yikes. At number 9, we have another acting twosome who announced they were splitting yet again, at no real surprise for fans. Apparently, the ex-spouses were having an insane amount of marital issues for years before their separation. Alongside rumors of infidelity in their relationship, there were also apparently the tripling up of Ben's gambling and drinking problems. It probably didn't save their situation once Ben announced in his 2013 Oscar speech how he and Jennifer were working on their marriage at that point. Surely you may not all be that shocked to know, with all that information, that the two revealed the end of their marriage in 2015. At number 8, we have actress Gwyneth Paltrow and English singer-songwriter Chris Martin, who didn't make the public announcement that they decided to separate until 2014, following 10 whole years of marriage. There were very obvious signs between them that indicated they might not have been seeing a long future together, and it seems fans were undoubtedly right on the money. Not one of them was caught off guard due to the fact that they would not pose together on red carpets nor discuss one another in interviews they gave prior. In fact, when when Gwyneth discussed her marriage in interviews, it was only to explain how hard it was for her to be married. Reportedly, there were cheating rumors involved with them, and they were broadcasted as another Hollywood couple with an open marriage. Regardless, the very obvious signs that things were donezo were clearly written in the stars long before the divorce papers were signed, stamped, and finalized.
And at number 6, Kristin Cavallari and Jay Cutler. Cavallari and Cutler announced their plans to separate via Instagram in April 2020 after marrying in 2013. Cutler listed their date of separation as April 21st of 2020, while Cavallari stated that their relationship ended on April 7th, which made the legal proceedings even more drawn out. The split seemed like it was nasty from the start, but things got worse when Cavallari accused Cutler of, quote, inappropriate marital conduct in the divorce filing, aka cheating. Then Cutler requested joint custody of their kids, while Cavallari wanted sole custody. During the messy divorce, a source said, quote, the word around Nashville is that they really just don't like each other anymore. They would accuse each other of cheating, but nothing really solid. They were both very stubborn and bump heads a lot. Neither backs down. And apparently before the split, the two were fighting often. Halfway number 5, Hoda Kotb and Joel Schiffman. After 8 years of being together, Hoda and Joel announced that they will be ending their engagement. Hoda made the announcement on January 31st on Today with Hoda and Jenna after some viewers wondered why she was no longer wearing an engagement ring. She revealed that over the holidays her and Joel had a lot of meaningful conversations where they realized they were better off as friends than an engaged couple. So they decided to start off the new year with a different type of relationship where they are no longer romantically involved. In at number 4, Yolanda Foster and David Foster. If any of you guys watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know what a mess this relationship was. The pair tied the knot in November of 2011, and from what we saw on the show, Yolanda was a loving and caring wife who put her husband first. She was even criticized on the show for how much she did for David. However, in early 2012, she was diagnosed with Lyme disease and was not herself for many years after, with the disease taking a toll on her physical and mental capacity. In 2015, the couple divorced, and Yolanda revealed on the show how blindsided that she was by everything, with her speaking openly about how she believes her medical condition was the reason for the split. One source from David's camp said after, quote, David and his family think Yolanda just loved the attention of being sick. They believe she's exaggerating her conditions, and they point out that she's never gotten a legit diagnosis or a second or third opinion. And at number 3, Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards. The couple first met while shooting the movie Good Advice in 2000, but they started dating later after Denise guest starred on Charlie's sitcom Spin City in 2001. They got married in June of 2002, but by 2005, they had split. Denise filed for divorce while Charlie was struggling with drug and alcohol issues, and the divorce was plastered all over the tabloids because of Charlie's reckless behavior at the time. Denise opened up about how hard the divorce was while she was a housewife on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, saying, quote, a lot of people have an impression of me being wild and crazy, but Charlie was sober when we got married. So we were not this swinging couple that people might assume. Adding, quote, when I got pregnant with Lola, things started to change rapidly. It was a very dark time and very toxic, and I filed for divorce when I was 6 months pregnant with her. But thankfully, the pair have a good relationship now. In at number 2, Pamela Anderson and Dan Hayhurst. Pam and Dan have sadly been only married for a year, but have already decided to end their marriage. A source described the relationship as a whirlwind romance that simply ran its course. After their wedding, the pair were not getting along and decided to take a break from each other. Another source claimed that Pam rushed into this marriage because she saw the relationship as a fresh start, but the spark was starting to fade and she was having regrets. Apparently Dan was trying to make it work between them, but Pam knew it was time to end things. Any news source said, quote, there was no straw that broke the camel's back, but rather Dan is not the man she hoped he was. This was Pamela's 6th marriage. She's been married 5 times in the past, twice to the same man. And finally, number 1, Ali Wong and Justin Hakuta. Comedian Ali Wong recently announced that her and her husband of 8 years, Justin Hakuta, are divorcing. A source told People, quote, it's amicable and they will continue to co-parent lovingly. The divorce news is not a shock to some fans who felt she was hinting at being unhappy in her marriage in multiple Netflix specials. The former couple met at a wedding reception in 2010 when he was a Harvard business student. They got married in 2014 and had their first daughter a year later, followed by another girl in 2017. During her 2016 Netflix stand-up special Baby Cobra, Wong joked how she trapped her husband to be with her after learning he was going to Harvard Business School. A sour spot for the couple was most likely how often Wong ripped on her marriage during her comedy. Once when speaking about her marriage, she said, quote, "Like an idiot, I asked this dude to ask me to go to prison, and I'm in monogamy jail and I don't know how to get out." She even joked in the same special that she thinks of cheating every 5 minutes, but no good opportunities have taken place. In at number 10, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Everything about this couple was messy, from how they got together to how they split up. After a terrible and messy divorce from Jennifer Aniston, with plenty of cheating rumors flying around, Brad and Angelina basically confirmed that they were together only a month later. They then got married in 2014. The couple had a huge family with many children, growing their family to 6 kids, with 3 being their biological children. Then came their separation, where cheating rumors started swirling. Then came the divorce, which came only 2 years after they got married. One of the messiest revelations in the divorce was that Pitt may have gotten physical with their oldest child Maddox while he was drunk. But the LA Department of Children and Family Services later cleared him of all charges. Then they had many legal fights about money, where Jolie claimed that Pitt hadn't, quote, paid any meaningful child support since they split. But then it came out that Pitt had paid over $1.3 million and even loaned her $8 million at one point. In at number 8, Wendy Williams and Kevin Hunter. The relationship between these two have been discussed in tabloids for years, with many people exposing Kevin over the years for cheating on Wendy. The talk show host filed from divorce from the TV producer in April of 2019 after almost 22 years of marriage. This came after it was revealed that Kevin Hunter got his mistress pregnant. Wendy spoke about the divorce in an interview where she said, quote, "Kevin had a major indiscretion and he will have to deal with that for the rest of his life. An indiscretion that I will not deal with. Never thought that I would be in this position." The divorce has not only been hard on Wendy, but sadly on their son as well, Kevin Hunter Jr.
At number 7, we have actor Tom Cruise and actress Katie Holmes. Now these two were somewhat of a wreck just waiting to happen, according to just about everybody. As soon as they went public with their love back in 2005, the public was already expecting a breakup to take place between the two of them. It was said to be mainly due to their age difference, but there were also loads of smaller issues that most likely played a huge part in their romantic demise. For one, Tom was 14 years Katie's senior, and there was the biggest and probably least surprising Scientology mess. Where Katie was brought up as a Catholic, Tom was heavily devoted to the practice of Scientology, which has its own slew of bad rumors and unethical practices and brainwashing techniques attached to its name. Then there was the fact that both Tom and Katie were at 2 very different places in their career at the time, which inevitably doomed their relationship from the get-go. Where Tom was a megastar hitting all the biggest screens, Katie was just up and coming as an actress. Surprisingly enough, their marriage remained intact for 6 whole years, but on the opposite end, no one was quite shocked to see it go.
In at number 7, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You guys already know about this train wreck, but I will sum it up for those of you that don't. Depp and Heard first met in 2009 on the set of The Rum Diary, which they starred in together. They married in 2015 in a private ceremony, but Heard filed for divorce only a year later after publicly accusing Johnny Depp of harming her. In the years that followed, the two were embroiled in a multi-year court battle that exposed tons of things about the relationship. Firstly, we learned that Amber had been verbally and physically harmful to Johnny in their relationship, which raised tons of questions about the legitimacy of her accusations. Then we learned that she would do insane things to test Johnny's temper, like once where she defecated in their bed, which the maid found later. Sadly, as of now, it seems that Amber is winning all their battles in court, but hopefully the truth will come out. In at number 6, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. This power couple was one that seemed like they would stay together forever because of how highly Momoa spoke of Bonet in the press. But sadly, on January 12th, the couple announced in a joint statement that they would be ending their marriage, saying, quote, "We have all felt the squeeze and changes of these transformational times. A revolution is unfolding and our family is of no exception. Feeling and growing from the seismic shifts occurring, and so we share our family news that we are parting ways in marriage." After the split, Momoa was seen living in a van that was camped out on his friend's property. There were also rumors that the pair might be getting back together, but those were false. While talking about these rumors, Momoa said, quote, "Oh no, we're not back together. We're family, you know. We have 2 beautiful children together. We're family forever."
At number 5, we have the queen of pop, Britney Spears, and her ex-husband Kevin Federline. I think it's safe to say that once Britney first made the announcement that she would be walking down the aisle with her former backup dancer turned lover, the world seemingly knew they'd be a disaster waiting to crash. But people were surprised when Britney and Kevin began began having children together. Still, fans were wickedly anticipating a divorce announcement from Britney and Kevin at the time. The relationship lasted a brief 2 years before Britney apparently blindsided Kevin with her filing for divorce. However, supporters of the pop star weren't nearly as disturbed by it, of course.
In at number 4, Josh Flagg and Bobby Boyd. $1 Million Listing Los Angeles star Josh Flagg announced in 2022 that he was splitting from his husband, Bobby Boyd. The pair had been married for 5 years. Flagg announced the news in an Instagram post, writing, quote, "Bobby and I are divorcing. This might sound abrupt, but I felt I should be transparent from the top rather than bury the headline. This was not a rash or impulsive decision. We have been very thoughtful before coming to this conclusion." He continued that the pair did not fall out of love, rather they felt that they were growing in different directions and could no longer be there for each other in the ways that they needed.
At number 3, Clark Gregg and Jennifer Grey. Marvel actor Clark Gregg and Dirty Dancing actress Jennifer Grey have divorced after nearly 20 years of marriage. In a joint statement, the pair have remarked that they made the difficult decision to divorce early this year, but remain close and grateful for the life they've shared and their daughter that they've raised together. It seems like their marriage ended on friendly terms, as no ill will has been spoken about either one of them, and they still seem to be amicable towards one another. Since their split, Jennifer has wished her now ex-husband a happy Father's Day, and the two have been seen posing together with their daughter after she graduated high school. Looks to me like things between them are friendly, and that's a positive. Coming close to the end of number 2, Julianne Hough and Brooks Laigh. After 3 years of marriage, Julianne Hough and Brooks Laigh called it quits when they announced their separation back in May. Yet another quarantine breakup to add to the books. In a joint statement, the couple tells fans that they've decided together that they would separate despite sharing an abundance of love and respect for one another. Now, the couple hasn't officially divorced yet, but they say that they're taking their time and are in no rush to get the paperwork done with. Someone close to the couple stated that Julianne is taking her time with the decision, as being in lockdown brought up a lot of feelings for her. Brooks, on the other hand, is ready to move on. They're planning to file together, but Brooks is understanding of her situation and is giving her the time she needs to make her decision. I admire their unity in this situation. Being in the midst of a public breakup doesn't seem to be an easy thing, so the fact that they're being patient with one another and not speaking ill of each other speaks volumes on their maturity in this. And finally, at number 1, Vanessa Morgan and Michael Kopech. Following a pregnancy announcement and just 6 months of marriage, Vanessa Morgan and Michael Kopech have filed for divorce. After nearly a year of dating, Vanessa and Michael tied the knot in January of this year. Then in June, Vanessa announced her pregnancy on Instagram, saying that she was overjoyed to be welcoming her baby boy in the coming winter. The internet was overjoyed to hear of the pregnancy, but the celebration soon turned sour, as just days after the announcement, it was revealed that Vanessa and husband Michael had filed for divorce. Michael and Vanessa have yet to comment on the divorce, but that hasn't stopped fans from speculating. Many fans have expressed their concern that someone was involved in an affair, many of those fans believing that it was Michael. Fans were quick to point out that in the photos Vanessa posted on her Instagram of her gender reveal party, Michael wasn't seen in any of them. Others pointed out the language used in the pregnancy announcement, citing that Vanessa referred to the baby as my and not ours, leading people to believe that Michael is no longer in the picture. Either way, it's sad to see a marriage fall apart, especially when a new baby's on the way. We have yet to hear any more on the story, but I'm sure it'll only be a matter of time until fans get some more answers.
Number 10, sharing the stage. J-Lo didn't hold back when it came to her opinion on sharing the stage with Shakira at the 2020 Super Bowl halftime show. In her newly released documentary called Halftime, she labeled it as the worst idea in the world. Quote, "If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have effing done." Basically, it turns out that Jennifer was frustrated with the NFL for booking 2 headliners and making them share the same amount of time that any solo performer would receive, as opposed to doubling it and giving the women extra time to shine. As a result, fans slammed the artist for coming off as entitled. While it's true that they only gave the performers 6 minutes each, the action-packed show garnered immense praise from fans across the globe, with many fans commending the women for showcasing their Latin heritage so brilliantly. What J-Lo was really mad about though is that previous solo headliners like Beyonce and The Weeknd received 14 minutes to perform, but judging by her complaints, it's clear that she feels offended that they asked her to share the stage at all. Number 9, cheating allegations. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have had an on-again, off-again romance that has been going on since the 2000s, with fans even nicknaming the couple Benifer. I mean, these two just got married this year after they first got engaged nearly 2 decades ago, but the timeline of their relationship is a huge red flag and included alleged cheating. So in July of 2002, Lopez filed for divorce from her second husband, Kris, citing irreconcilable differences. But this news broke just months after Lopez had wrapped the movie Glee alongside her then boyfriend Ben. Even though she vehemently denied cheating rumors, Ben took out an ad in The Hollywood Reporter gushing about Lopez before her divorce wasn't yet finalized. In fact, even Kris Judd's father, Larry, spoke out against the couple and accused J-Lo of being unfaithful to his son. He insinuated that the affair started during the filming of Glee. Quote, "I thought Mr. Affleck would honor a married woman and not just go right into the trailer," and added that she'd be happier if she just tell the truth and no one in her little circle is going to say one negative thing to her. But we'll never really know the truth of what happened. Number 8. Music theft. The star has been accused of stealing and borrowing background tracks and vocals from other artists for years. One of the stars who accused her of doing this was Usher in 2005. He claimed that she stole a song that he cast aside while recording his hugely successful album called Confessions. Usher claimed that J-Lo's single Get Right is actually a re-recorded version of Ride, a song that he co-wrote the year before, which was only available online. He said, quote, "I hate it, but I'd better get some of the publishing rights or else. I didn't put it on my album because I couldn't get it right, but I didn't expect J-Lo to just take it." And apart from being accused of stealing the same sample song that Mariah Carey used for Loverboy, J-Lo was also given songs that were initially intended for Ashanti, which is why a lot of people claim what happened between the two artists was straight up music theft. In September of 2001, Lopez released I'm Real from her second studio album, J-Lo, that she worked on with Irv Gotti. But the song was already recorded and mixed with Ashanti's vocals, which is why you can still hear her background vocals in Lopez's version.
7. Nas. Nas is an American songwriter, rapper, and entrepreneur who called out Doja Cat in his song Ultra Black, a collaboration with Hit Boy, after she had been involved in controversy. Doja Cat came under massive fire after it was revealed that she had apparently been hanging out in white supremacy chat rooms and dissing her own South African heritage. While she tried to apologize, the controversy went on for a while, and Nas commented on it in his lyrics where he said, "We going ultra black, unapologetically black, the opposite of Doja Cat," clearly commenting on her apparent racism allegations. Doja Cat herself didn't offer much comment on the situation, taking to TikTok to sarcastically comment, "I'm so offended and upset by this song," while it played in the background. Nas attempted to deny any negative connotations to the lyrics, saying that he was just trying to find something to rhyme.
Number 6. Rosie Perez. Both Jennifer Lopez and Rosie Perez have served as inspirations to the Latin community for over 2 decades, but they haven't always gotten along. They met back in 1991 during an open casting call for In Living Color. At the time, Perez was the show's choreographer, and Lopez was auditioning to become a member of the dance troupe known as the Fly Girls. Her audition was unsuccessful, but Perez saw a star quality in J-Lo and actually pulled some strings to get her in. But after she was in the group, it became clear that Lopez didn't get along with her fellow dancers. According to Perez, she was labeled as a diva right away. "All of the girls were coming into my office and complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage." Perez said that at first she didn't believe it, but then J-Lo screamed at her saying, "I know I'm good, I'm better than any of these girls and you know it." What's worse is, after J-Lo left the show and made it big in the music industry, she went on talk shows trashing her former choreographer. Perez also implied that J-Lo ghosted her. Quote, "I called her up, she wouldn't pick up. Frustrated, I left her an irate message on her answering machine. Instead of calling me back and hashing it out like friends do, she went on a major talk show and reiterated my lashing." Number 5. Insensitive comments. To give you some background on why everyone felt that J-Lo was trashing belly dancing. So, a part of the 2020 Super Bowl performance featured young dancers sitting in glowing cages, which many people assume represented the immigrant children in cages at the US border. But she apparently had a hard time convincing the NFL to do this, and said, quote, "I'm trying to give you something with substance, not just us out there shaking our effing asses and effing belly dancing." She went on to say that she wants something real, something that's gonna make a statement, something that's gonna say we belong here and we have something to offer. Now, if you're confused about why that was so controversial, essentially she compared the art of belly dancing to just shaking your butt for the hell of it. In fact, that particular line was shared across Twitter and people were big mad. It was just a little culturally insensitive to say, considering the fact that the dance has long been associated with Middle Eastern cultures, and it's something that Shakira has become known for, using it to channel her father's Lebanese, Syrian, Arab roots. Number 4, Nicki Minaj. These two have allegedly been feuding since 2012. It all started when Nicki was performing on one particular episode of American Idol at the same time that JLo was sitting on the judge panel. In a rather awkward moment, Nicki asked if she could come back on the show as a guest judge and asked JLo to scoot over. As a Latina artist hit back, she said, "I don't know if there's room for both of us." It was one of those joking moments that seemed like there was something else behind it, but nevertheless the two seemed to be just joking around, even though Nicki told a reporter backstage, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." Okay, so now we're jumping to 2015, when fans swear that Nicki shaded JLo for performing her song at the American Music Awards. As she was performing a small part of Anaconda, the camera cut to Nicki in the audience looking less than happy with the rendition. The clip showed her emotionless face and made it seem like she didn't approve of the way her song was being used.
Jenna Dewan. When the pair started alongside each other on World of Dance, they seemed like they got along great. Lopez was a producer and a judge, while Dewan was a host and mentor on the show. But sources revealed that when the camera stopped rolling, the women hated each other. One source said about their relationship, quote, "Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background." The insider continued that JLo is a micromanager who tells everyone else what to do. Because of all her input, Jenna felt excluded and felt like her voice was not heard. Although there is a chance that this feud is not accurate, because when Dewan's team was asked about the feud rumors, they denied them.
Number 3, Ryan Seacrest. This incident gives Ryan every reason to hate JLo because it's pretty bad. Ryan Seacrest worked alongside the singer on American Idol and the two quickly became friends. But all that seemingly changed when the talk show host revealed that he flew down to Miami to celebrate her milestone 50th birthday, only to be denied entry at the door. Ouch. He recalled the whole story on Live with Kelly and Ryan and explained that he flew down from New York for only a few hours because he had to make it back in time for the next morning's show. But when he finally arrived, the doorman told him, "You're not on the list," to which he responded, "Clearly, there's a mistake. She invited me personally." But upon being denied, he checked the list and couldn't find his name. The doorman just asked him to wait, made a quick call, and was able to confirm that Seacrest was indeed on the guest list. But the host went on to say that he was the first person there and no one really got turned up until after he left. It would have certainly been a little embarrassing, to say the least.
And finally, Jennifer Lopez herself. Nobody has done more to warn us about JLo's sketchy behavior than herself. And some of the things she's done in the past are too terrible to ignore. Back when she tried to score a role in competition with actress Claire Danes, JLo said some harsh things about her competition, saying that Claire Danes does the quote, "same thing with every character she does." Then Lopez bashed Winona Ryder, saying that she was not a big fan of her work. And finally, Lopez took aim at Gwyneth Paltrow, saying, quote, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Then in a different interview, Lopez decided to take aim at Madonna, specifically bashing Madonna's attempt at acting. Quote, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Aside from dishing out unnecessary shade to other celebrities, Lopez also has a reputation for being incredibly rude to service people. One United Airlines employee told the press how much of a diva she was during her flight. Apparently he asked if she wanted a drink and she replied, quote, "I just said, what can I get you to drink?" But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge me. She turned her head away and told her personal assistant, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." Even though the stewardess was trying to serve her what she wanted, she refused to look, and made her assistant speak for her. It's so ridiculous and an unnecessary power play. But this interaction is nothing compared to the maid that was fired for asking JLo for an autograph. The maid later spoke with media and said she asked JLo's 2 assistants, who rejected the autograph. Then a day later, the hotel said that Lopez complained about the incident, and that maid was fired.
Let's get into my second point, and what I would say is kind of a pivot from what the title of this video is: Ben as a person and the paparazzi. I mean, if we're being candid here, yeah, Ben has issues. That's obvious, anyone can see it. But honestly, all of these issues, while not excuses, can be explained by his very clear depression and deep mental health issues. A lot of people's grievances with him can be traced back to his dumb youth. He was cocky and full of attitude after coming off of the success of Good Will Hunting. When he began dating Jennifer Lopez, one of the biggest stars in the world at that time, the media frenzy that resulted completely violated their privacy. Suddenly, everyone was taking photos of the couple in intimate situations, and stalking was so heavily normalized that we still see the effects of lecherous paparazzi activities to this day. That all started from their relationship. If you couple that with a string of mediocre movies, people just started to hate Ben Affleck. There was a bit he did with a Quebecois interviewer where he was being overly flirtatious with her. They had agreed to do it to promote a show she was hosting. She even stated that it was all a hoax, but people chose to ignore it in favor of trying to find a valid reason to hate on him, besides him being kind of a mediocre actor with serious issues.
Number 10, Mariah Carey. This celebrity feud is legendary, so it's only fair that we start off with this one. JLo and Mariah Carey have been at each other's throats since the early 2000s. In fact, most people remember the iconic line that Mariah told a German reporter, "I don't know her." Although it sounds hilarious, Mariah has maintained her negative opinion of JLo all these years. For example, an interviewer once asked her what she thought about Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez, and she responded by saying that they don't even belong in the same category for a very specific reason. Well, it's hard. You can't really put those two people in the same category because one is in a really different generation. They just started singing later. But when you talk about Beyonce, I think she's wonderful, she's great, she's a talented person. But it seemed that she forgot to compliment JLo as well. A few years later, Carey spoke to Andy Cohen and doubled down on her comments. Quote, "I don't know her, what am I supposed to say?" It looks like it'll take a miracle for these two iconic performers to ever be on good terms. Number 9, Rihanna. There are several celebrities who can't stand Jennifer Lopez, but one of the biggest critics of the iconic singer is Rihanna. These two former best friends had a serious falling out in 2016 for the oldest reason in the book. They were fighting over the same guy. Before the feud began, Rihanna and JLo were friendly to each other and had no reason for animosity. But trouble started brewing right after Rihanna and Drake broke up. They had a summer fling that same year, which was pretty casual, but it definitely still counted. Girl code was broken when JLo started getting close with Drake almost immediately after. But the feud really became public when Jennifer posted a photo of her and Drake hanging out backstage at her show in Las Vegas with the caption #LoveHim. In fact, the two were even spotted hugging, and fans quickly realized that something very shady was happening. An inside source close to the star said that Riri felt like she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and called Jennifer's behavior desperate. It must have been accurate because in December of 2016, she suddenly unfollowed Lopez on Instagram. Number 8, Gloria Estefan. Cuban-American superstar Gloria Estefan was originally supposed to be performing at the 2020 Super Bowl alongside fellow Latina pop stars JLo and Shakira. But after seeing JLo's new documentary called Halftime, where the singer went on a rant about having to share the stage with Shakira, Gloria put her comments on blast. She didn't seem to agree that it was the worst idea ever to have the artist share the stage, and explained why Lopez got it wrong on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Quote, "Look, this is the bottom line. You have very little time, like 12 minutes or something, to get things on and off the set. So could you do it with one person? Yes. But I think they wanted to throw a Miami and Latin extravaganza, and they tried to pack it in as much as possible." The Grammy Award winner also confirmed that she chose not to participate for a reason, seeing as JLo got so worked up about having two people perform. Quote, okay, and imagine what JLo would have said if I was the third. I literally would come out, done a shake your booty and out. But she went on to insist that it was their moment and that she didn't want to go on a diet in December anyway.
Brandy. In the midst of the Mariah and JLo feud, Brandy publicly supported Mariah, making it clear she does not like JLo. In July of 2017, Brandy took to Instagram to share a photo of herself hugging Mariah Carey with the caption, #SheKnowsMe. An obvious reference to Mariah's infamous "I don't know her" comment about JLo. All the comments were flooded with people speculating over the caption, and the consensus quickly became that the photo was a dig at JLo. However, Brandy later addressed the caption, writing, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I didn't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable, you know that I am." Later adding that Mariah does in fact know her. Mariah supported the post by commenting, quote, "I sure do." Even though Brandy is trying to convince us it's nothing shady, I honestly don't believe it.
Number 5. SZA. SZA is a famous American R&B singer who last year won an award with Doja Cat at the VMAs for Best Collaboration for their song Kiss Me More. So if they're winning awards together, why would she hate her? Well, this is actually about something that SZA's father had to say about Doja Cat. Instead of sharing his excitement for his daughter winning the award in 2021, he took to Instagram to share how furious he was at Doja for being unprofessional. Apparently upset about the fact that Doja hadn't really given his daughter a chance to speak at the podium. While many fans had noticed that she hadn't gotten a chance to speak, most just took to Twitter to share lighthearted jokes and didn't directly attack Doja. Since the post on his Instagram seemingly went viral, SZA's father privated his Instagram account trying to avoid the backlash. Hey, if you can't take the heat, maybe you should stay out of the kitchen.
Rihanna. Rihanna and JLo started feuding right around the time that JLo was seen getting cozy with Rihanna's ex, Drake. This all happened in 2016 when JLo and Drake took a photo backstage at JLo's concert. Once the photos came out, everyone assumed that they were dating, which probably got the attention of his exes. A lot of fans felt the whole thing was most likely a publicity stunt, but Rihanna took the rumors pretty seriously and lashed out online because of it. A source said at the time that Rihanna suffered, quote, "the ultimate betrayal" and dubbed Lopez desperate and a traitor. This was because Rihanna and JLo were really tight at one point, and Rihanna even got support from JLo during rough times with Drake. Then in December of 2016, Rihanna unfollowed JLo on Instagram, making her stance very clear.
Number 3. Jack Harlow. American rapper and frequent White Boy of the Month, Jack Harlow had an interesting interaction with Doja Cat. While maybe not actual beef, I'm sure he was left a little disappointed at Doja towards the whole scenario. On an Instagram live, the two shared some friendly banter before Harlow said, "I need to talk to you for a second." Jack went on to explain that fans thought they were dating because Doja's boyfriend looked like him. Doja immediately dipped from the conversation, saying that her wig was peeling off and she needed to deal with it. After she leaves, Harlow admits that he has a crush on her. Later he said that it was just the beginning of their friendship and now that he wouldn't do anything too silly and was playing it cool. Poor guy shot his shot, but unfortunately got turned down. We can only speculate on whether or not he still carries a flame for her.
Number 2. Accusations of racism. 20 years ago, Lopez was approaching full actualization as an entertainer, but a single from her second album, JLo, almost derailed her career entirely. The Murder Inc. remix of I'm Real, which features Ja Rule and Own Radio in 2001, was ruined by the N-bomb that she drops in her final verse. The issue was that the song was an instant hit, so much so that 10 years later, in 2011, Billboard gave it the 6th spot on its 40 biggest duets of all time list. But, rightfully so, people were outraged by her use of the loaded term, not only because she's a Latina artist, but at her level of success, where she has a platform and sets an example to young fans, using such a derogatory word is at best offensive. But as the accusations of racism started to mount against the star, she eventually spoke out to defend her actions on the Today Show. Quote, "For anyone who thinks or suggests that I'm racist is really absurd and hateful to me." Although many people think this is not an excuse, it was later revealed that the track was actually written by Ja Rule himself, and apparently he encouraged her to say it. And number 1, Fired a Maid. This one is really indefensible. Jennifer Lopez allegedly got a German hotel maid fired for asking for an autograph. Fredo Daj was a staff member at the luxury Melia Hotel in Dusseldorf, Germany. Germany during Lopez's stay in 2012. She was a big fan of JLo and worked up the courage to knock on the star's hotel door in Dusseldorf to ask for an autograph, and was promptly turned away. Prey claims that she was relieved from her post the day after the incident. She told The Sun, quote, "I am an incredibly big fan, so I took all my courage and rang the doorbell to get an autograph, but I was rejected by 2 assistants at the door. A day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Miss Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone." If the incident really happened, it's hard to ignore the irony when you remember that Jennifer played a hotel maid in the movie Made in Manhattan. After receiving a rightful amount of backlash, the pop star wrote on Twitter, quote, "Come on, thought you knew me better than this, would never get anyone fired over an autograph. First I heard of this was on Twitter, #hurtful.
First and foremost, Hilarie Burton. Back in 2008, Hilarie Burton, an actress in Lethal Weapon, had been a co-host for MTV's Total Request Live. The show was a daily music video countdown that ran for 10 years. On the show, she would interview various celebrities and ask them their opinions on music and catch up with their lives and stuff. Very casual hangout style interviews. Anyways, in an incident that was caught on video, Ben behaved extremely inappropriately towards Hilarie. He grabbed her non-consensually and groped her. The video resurfaced in 2017 at the height of the Me Too movement, when one Twitter user posted, quote, "Affleck also grabbed Hilarie Burton's breasts on TRL once. Everyone forgot though." The tweet got enough attention that Hilarie herself saw it and replied, quote, "I didn't forget." In a later tweet, she recalled, quote, "I had to laugh back then so I wouldn't cry." She then thanked the user who posted the video and brought up the encounter. Quote, "Seriously, thank you for that. I was a kid." I guess she had felt that her situation with Ben was pretty much swept under the rug, which is pretty right, honestly. I had no idea about the story at all until 2017, and let's just say that Ben's apology left quite a bit to the imagination. He tweeted out, quote, "I acted inappropriately towards Miss Burton and I sincerely apologize." And that's it. I know when it comes to cases like this, people love to default to, oh, well, it was a long time ago. While I can see that just maybe being a proper excuse for certain situations, what is absolutely inexcusable is how one decides to address it. Ben's apology missed the mark, and when you do regret a situation, rectifying it is the only way to ethically right it. I'm not sure if anything went on behind closed doors between the two in the ways of an apology, but either way, as far as the public is concerned, not cool, Ben.
First up, of course, we have Mariah Carey. Even if you're not familiar with many of JLo's feuds, I'm sure you know that Mariah Carey hates her. That's because Mariah has not been shy about throwing shade in her direction. These two have been feuding ever since JLo started to make music, and started to steal her shine. Then when Mariah was asked about Lopez in an interview, she famously replied, quote, "I don't know her." Years later, when Andy Cohen brought up the beef on his show Watch What Happens Live in 2014, Jennifer Lopez played the whole thing off, saying, quote, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met. Like, we don't know each other. I would love to meet her, and I would love to be friends with her." But then JLo was a little more savage on the Wendy Williams show when asked about the feud in 2016. Lopez said, quote, "She's forgetful, I guess. We've met so many times." But Carey doubled down in another interview where she added that she still doesn't know Jennifer Lopez. When Mariah had a mishap of her own during a disastrous New Year's Eve performance, Lopez took a break from the high road and liked an extremely shady tweet about Mariah. The tweet said, quote, "Ever seen an accident you couldn't take your eyes away from? That was her tonight." If you're wondering where this feud started, it all goes back to Mariah's ex-husband and music executive, Tommy Mottola. After getting married in 1993, Carey divorced Mottola in 1998 because he was very controlling. And to get back at her, Mottola started up JLo's career and did everything possible to make JLo a star, instead of Mariah. JLo sampled a number of Mariah-esque songs. There were even allegations she straight up copied some of Mariah's songs, but tried to make them more of a hit. All because of Mottola. But Mariah knows she still came out on top, adding, quote, "After all that shit, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States." So basically the whole feud is over career competition and the fact that Lopez was in cahoots with Carey's controlling ex. Rosie Perez. You'd think that JLo and Rosie Perez would be great friends, considering how much they have in common. Both women are dancers, are Puerto Rican, and grew up in New York. But the pair are not close, and it would be more accurate to say that they actually hate each other. According to Perez's 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, she has plenty of negative stories to share about JLo. In her memoir, Perez shared a story from the set of In Living Color. She wrote about Lopez, quote, All of the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage, and added she was acting like, quote, some ghetto bitch, screaming and pounding her chest. JLo ended up leaving that show after 2 seasons, but the feud between the pair continued, and Perez claimed that Lopez would speak negatively about her whenever she got the chance. Even worse, Lopez was allegedly two-faced. She would talk trash behind Perez's back, but be nice to her face.
Number 7. Makeup artist feud. Scott Barnes, who worked for JLo for the past 20 years, has had to deal with so much of the star's crazy hot and cold behavior. In the mid-2000s, the star essentially banished her longtime makeup artist, Scott Barnes, after rumors surfaced that someone had leaked info to the press about her and Marc Anthony's secret marriage ceremony. Speaking on the Jeff Probst show in 2012, when asked about how JLo treated him, he said, quote, "It was like I had the plague." But interestingly enough, eventually she ended up giving Barnes his old job back again after learning the truth, but apparently failed to apologize for being so cold and ruthless towards him. I mean, she literally cut him off without a word and blamed him for the leak without even confronting him. Barnes went on to say, quote, "I went right back to work with her and we just never spoke about it again, which is even weirder." The funny thing is, her celebrity makeup artist would go on to work with her for another 6 years and insisted that they remain on good terms despite the fact that she ghosted him and didn't even apologize for it. Number 6. The Marc Anthony romance. Celebrity gossip magazines could not get enough of the power couple in the early 2000s. They were absolutely everywhere and it seemed like fans loved the pairing. But their beginnings as a couple were super questionable to say the least. Anthony married former Miss Universe Dayanara Torres in 2000, while Lopez was dating Ben Affleck roughly around the same time. But the on-again, off-again couple picked their romance back up while Anthony was still married to Dayanara. So less than a week after Anthony's divorce was finalized, the couple surprised fans by getting married in a small, casual ceremony in her Beverly Hills home in early June. It really begs the question of whether or not JLo was some kind of homewrecker, because the timeline of the rekindled relationship seems really off. I mean, he actually broke Dayanara's heart, and she said, quote, "You go through hell. I cried until there were no tears left, until I was numb. I didn't want to eat, I didn't care to get dressed or take a shower, I just wanted to lie there." Anthony's feelings for Jennifer might have been there all along because the two had history, but he should have put way more thought into who he chose to marry in the first place. So in a way, they're both at fault here.
Next up, Nicki Minaj. It's long been rumored that Jennifer Lopez is a huge diva, and the fight that her and Nicki Minaj had while on American Idol brought up both of their diva sides. In 2012, Lopez was a judge on American Idol while Nicki came on to perform, and things got tense fast. After Nicki finished performing, she went over to the judges table and asked, quote, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. JLo, can you scoot over a little bit?" JLo then responded, quote, "I don't know if there's enough room for both of us." Then Minaj took it up another notch backstage when she said, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." But she later added, quote, "We were just joking around." But it's clear the bad blood is still there. When Lopez performed at the 2015 AMAs, she sang a part of Minaj's song Anaconda, but I don't think Nicki got the memo that it was going to be happening, because when the camera panned to Nicki, she did not look happy. Fans totally saw the shade and started tweeting about it that night.
Number 4. Avoiding the Bronx. This one, train wreck of an ad campaign, led people to openly mock both Chrysler and Jennifer Lopez. The central premise of the ad was that sometimes JLo will drive through her old hood in the South Bronx in a Fiat 500 just to stay inspired. Although it sounds ridiculous, the marketing campaign obviously tried to draw on the singer's famous Jenny from the Block era. Most people recognize the song in which she pays tribute to growing up in the Bronx, which had been a solid part of her image since the 90s. In fact, the singer even titled her debut album On the 6, which is a clear reference to the New York subway train. A press release at the time even stated that she would be traveling through the streets of Manhattan to the Bronx where she grew up. But the ad backfired when the Smoking Gun reported that Lopez never actually went to the Bronx to film the ad and that a body double stand-in was used instead, calling it, quote, "such a breathtaking assemblage of urban cliches," and that was putting it lightly. Number 3. The Movie Line interview. The infamous Movie Line interview in 1998 that could have almost ruined JLo's career was truly worse than you can imagine. She was 27 at the time and fresh off the success of her film Selena. She basically decided to trash all the other celebrities that were big at the time and tried to trivialize their career and contribution to the industry. In fact, when asked about Madonna, she actually said, quote, Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. And I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft. It was so ironic because JLo would go on to do both music and acting for the rest of her career, and critics also trashed her acting on the big screen. Also, at the time, Madonna had been a star for a lot longer than JLo, so there was no real comparison there. And when Gwyneth Paltrow was brought up, Jennifer almost seemed to laugh and made it clear that she didn't take her fellow actress's career seriously. Quote, tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. Yikes. Number 2, Cameron Diaz. Throughout the years, Jennifer Lopez has been known to speak negatively about her fellow actors, and it looks like it may have come back to bite her. During an interview in the late 90s, JLo explained that Cameron Diaz was just a lucky model who was given opportunities. She did mention that Diaz can be good when directed, but Lopez's past comments about Cameron's career allegedly made things super awkward between them when they both had to buckle down and work together in the 2012 comedy What to Expect When You're Expecting. Several anonymous sources on the set of the film claimed that the two stars did not get along at all during the shoot. In fact, it was reported that Cameron said the singer was a nightmare to work with. Quote, she even said that Jen should stick to her day job, meaning American Idol and singing. According to The Insider, JLo demanded to eat at specific times, no matter what, and stops working when it suits her, and she had her assistant run over to her with food. This is what allegedly drove Cameron crazy. Another source claimed that the co-stars actively avoided one another while filming, and tensions were thick. Number 1, Ojani Noah. The former couple were married on February 22nd, 1997, and got divorced barely 1 year later, in January of 1998. It was so long ago that you would think Ojani has moved on from the relationship, but apparently he's still holding on to a bit of resentment. In fact, Jennifer's former flame was out to make a buck off their brief marriage by trying to expose revealing videos from their honeymoon. Ojani was even hauled into court after he started planning a tell-all movie based on the revealing home footage called How I Married Jennifer Lopez, the JLo and Ojani Noah story. The result? Well, she sued him for a whopping $10 million and demanded a permanent court order blocking her ex from making any videos public. Ojani also threatened to write a tell-all book unless he was paid $5 million by the singer. His unpublished book alleges that JLo had multiple affairs, including one with Marc Anthony during the 11 months that they were married. But a judge was not having it and awarded her $545,000 in damages and quashed the book, ruling that it violated a 2004 deal not to publish details of their relationship. Her team calls the movie an outrageous attempt to make money and received substantial compensation. So it's clear that he's still a little bit bitter.